So I've been building up over the past sort of couple of months ago, since September, the two big things that a lot of these reform councils are going to go through, and the problems they are probably ultimately going to have to face with these two big challenges. The first one, of course, is we're already seeing this with the budget. Now, how councils do their budget is they prepare this budget, goes to the cabinet, so it's passed by the cabinet in December. It then goes to the full council meeting, that is in January. Then in February, that's when you have all the budget committees, and that's where all the final nuts and bolts and etc. all hammered out through it. Now, of course, they've been making big promises about, oh, we're going to cut this, we're going to cut that. Doggle's going to come in and solve all this waste, fraud, and abuse. Well, as we've been seeing, yeah, that ain't happening. Many of the town councils are now suddenly having to realize, oh, we're going to actually have to raise council tax, even though they said and promised that they wouldn't. Like I said, I think we've got more stuff to come when we start to see what goes on and when they try to put these budgets together. But that is, of course, for December. Meanwhile, before that, at the end of just next month, we've got local government reorganisation. And oh boy, is this going to be fun. Because not all councils, bear in mind, are going to go through this. Some are, some aren't. But for those councils that are, like Kent, Nottingham, for example, Leicestershire, Warwickshire, of course, we've talked about in the past. It's going to be very interesting because these reform councils haven't even done the bare minimum to even go to the public to ask what is it that they want about local government reform. How do they want this to look? Meanwhile, other councils that aren't run by reform, they've already done this. They've had public consultation. They already know what they want, what they're going to do. More than enough time before the deadline even arrives. So what we've now got is, and this is getting very fun, is that in Nottinghamshire, there's going to be quite a significant border shakeup. And we have got stuff now coming out from Nottinghamshire that Mick Barton is now holding some secret meetings about this border shakeup and what is going to happen, which, of course, is a big no-no, because guess what? They haven't had a public consultation. They've voted on it, but we'll see now. They're still trying to have a public consultation on this, now having private meetings about this. This is really weird. So once again, local government organisation, certainly Nottinghamshire, not going very well. And of course, being covered by Nottinghamshire Live, exposing all this stuff that's going on. Very, very wonderful of them, especially after, of course, getting their access completely revoked after reporting on a very similar thing not that too long ago. So good on Nottinghamshire Post for not backing down on this. But before we get, of course, more into this, please do, of course, remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button. Down below, of course, there is the bell button as well that you can press. That will, of course, give you a notification when we go live or when we drop a new video. There are, of course, links down below. There's the Patreon page, there's the Buy Me a Coffee link, there's the YouTube thank you button, and, of course, as always, there is the YouTube membership as well. So, as always, thank you very much to all those people who do help and support the channel that way. So, let's crack on then into this and find out about these secretive meetings that are taking place. So, Reform is now accused of holding secretive meetings about the Notts border shakeup. So, parties are now split about the secretive private meetings in a huge now shakeup of Nottinghamshire's borders being held by the County Council's Reform UK leadership. The main Conservative opposition group at the council will not be attending those sessions, but the smaller Labour group and other 4 councillors will be going, say it is their duty to do so. Which, again, can't blame them for not going. If they are going to have these private meetings, then yeah, you should go. But if I were these people and I were going to these secret meetings, I'd be taking a tape recorder. I'd be setting up my phone to do a live stream. I wouldn't allow any of this stuff to be, quote, done in secret. The Conservatives, of course, maintain that any discussion about the biggest shakeup in the Nottinghamshire border boundaries in over 50 years should be done in public, which, again, very true. I think they should be doing this in public. The Reform County Council leadership have, of course, announced this week that in a bid now to improve public understanding of the issue, they will be hosting their own consultation on it. They've already had a vote about which areas to give up. They've already had a vote on this. How are they now going to a public consultation in less than a month where they've got to hand in to the government what they want the government to do? You can see why I keep on telling you this is going to be quite a predicament some of these councils, like Nottinghamshire, are going to find themselves in. So, yeah, Councillor Sam Smith, the Conservative opposition leader at the County Council, said that the Conservatives will not take part in any smoky room back conversations. We will now fully engage the democratic and transparent process. If Reform are, of course, serious about listening to the public, they will put this debate in the open and try and not fix the outcome in private. Reform leader Mick Barton has not commented about any of these meetings, but in an email inviting opposition parties to the meeting from Nottinghamshire County Council Chief Executive Adrian Smith says that they have now been organised to, quote, inform the development of these key elements of the proposal. The new Labour government announced soon after getting into office that they wanted to now simplify the structure of local councils, partly, of course, to save money, but under the local government reorganisation programme. Councils like Nottinghamshire operate all local authorities under their area, but the rest of Nottinghamshire now uses a two-tier system. The larger authority, in this case, the Nottinghamshire County Council, runs very big services like roads and social care. Smaller district and borough councils like Gelding and Boxtow then run local services like parks and bin collections. The government wants to abolish now this two-tier system so that all councils across the country become unitaries like Nottingham. Leaders of all now the current 9 councils in Nottinghamshire and Nottingham have now therefore been working since December on plans for the future of the county and the city map. Bear that in mind. Just what you've seen there. They've all been working since December. These guys came in May when every other party had ideas. We're talking about this, about local government organisation. Here's our plan. Here's what we would like to do. Reform, this wasn't even on their radar until, in some cases, just now. They are only thinking about it just now when the deadline is like less than a month away at this point. How they are going to do all this in that time is anyone's guess. In terms of this, of how this shall look, the two core, of course, options currently on the table would, of course, see Nottingham Council covering the city of Boxtow and, of course, Gelding. The other now would see a new Nottingham County Council covering the city of Boxtow and Rushcliffe, and in both cases, the new council will be created now to cover the rest of the county. Reform's County Council leader have already adopted the option of a new Nottingham Council covering the city, Boxtow and Gelding as their preferred choice. And of course, you may remember these two councillors that currently sit in those seats aren't very happy about that, if you may remember when we were last time covering this. The meetings to develop these proposals will be held on the October the 17th and October the 21st, each lasting between about 90 minutes to 2 hours. Oh boy, I think there's going to be some very fun events in those meetings, that's for sure. Councillor Sam Smith, that the decisions made about all these future of the councils must, of course, be made in the open. Residents have a right to hear about every word in this debate. Penny Goldwald, the leader of the Labour group of the County Council, said, "We are attending because we think it is our duty to attend them." And again, I can't disagree with them for attending. I can't also not disagree with the with the Conservatives saying that they're not going to attend. I think, quite frankly, it's a case of, yeah, they're both pretty much in the right here on that one. But anyway, continuing what they said. They're, of course, not in the public, and I do know why they are not in the public, but it is, of course, not unusual for councils to have meetings that are, of course, not in the public, and the Tories, of course, have done this before. The point is that there are now two options on the table at the moment which don't make anyone happy, and I think there is room for at least common sense to try and prevail. But if we are not around the table, then we won't be able to put any of that across. The invitation from now Adrian Smith makes it very clear that the council is committed to holding all these working sessions when LGR is adopted and preferred stance on the issue in a meeting in September. All Nottinghamshire councils are now all developing their preferred option ahead of the LGR deadline well in advance of November, after the government will then confirm the final decision on how LGR will work for Nottinghamshire in the spring of 2026. Any new authorities that are now set up will then be in place by 2028, possibly even after initial elections in 2027. So, yeah, once again, reform failing very, very much so. To have any of these ideas in place, other councils have already done this. Nottingham City has already done theirs. Leicestershire versus Leicester. Leicester's already done theirs. They've already done theirs well in advance. Because everyone was talking about this since last December. It's just reform came in, had no idea that this was something they were going to have to tackle, thinking, oh, we can just have a referendum and just sweep it under the rug. Because that's what Nigel Farage was saying. But no, they've like, this is happening. You can't stop it. So best, have some input on this. So there's going to be some very, very, I think, upset pieces over the next couple of months from certainly Nottinghamshire, certainly from Leicestershire as well, about the LGR. We'll see how this all shakes out eventually. But trust me, they've got reform in control. And these people have no clue what they're doing. So a couple of these places could soon find themselves not with a reform council, but now actually part of either Nottingham City or even Leicester City councils. I'm sure that's going to make everyone perfectly happy. But as always, let me know what you think if you are in one of these areas and you are going to be affected by this. I would love to know. But if you do hear about anything else, as always, from any of these reform people, please do let me know in the comments. It is very difficult to try and keep a track of everything that's going on, so I do miss things from time to time. But as always, thank you very much for watching. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.